Having good. Are we on?
We are live.
We're having a good conversation. This is how this thing works. Is you actually see the interviews, the conversations we're having, but it doesn't stop. We keep having them, and so as we're logging on, we're sitting up here talking business and everything. So that's just the way it rolls.
Yeah, and the reason y'all don't usually hear it because Alan's got me all set up. When I hit a certain button, it just mutes all the mic. So. Right. But we just keep talking.
And don't worry that he's over there. If he reaches to a button and you think you've been muted, don't worry about it. It's okay. If he shuts you off, it's okay.
Get the hook.
Yeah, that's no problem.
and you can check out all those buttons, man. See how it's popping up?
That's good. Fancy technology.
Yeah, you look right in here, and that's how you look on camera. That's so good. For all the folks watching back home.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're as pretty as ever. So we're joined by Thomas Tardo, Greenville City. Also instrumental in the leadership. I don't want to just say this officer section program, but just leadership in general in the state of South Carolina.
Absolutely.
And we talk about relationships we make, and over the past few years, we've made a bond, and just one of my favorite guys, Thomas. And I actually, I really mean that. The passion that you bring, the reason you do it, what you require out of the people to take your training, what you require out of the people to work with you, it's really making a difference in the state, and appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
And you got a little bit longer left than we do, so I expect you to be the guy that,
carries torch.
That you're the guy. But today, they wanted you on today to talk about Fire Officer Academy and, kind of our flagship program right now. I mean, Leadership Institute is still on the forefront and a great program and something we're extremely proud of. But this Fire Officer Academy has really caught fire.
Absolutely. It's great.
So let's talk a little bit of how it got started. Where did it come from?
So what brought it the most was we want something from bridging the gap from military to emergency service. So but like the NCO Academy in the military, you go through NCO Academy every time you want to promote. So it gets you ready for the next position. It gets you fired up. You come off the line, you go there, and when you get back, you're amped up. You're ready for the next challenge. So we should be getting our leaders prepared for the next step, getting them ready. It's not getting the seat and then what.
That's
but
right.
It's pushing the bar, having a standard, pushing the standard, making sure that we're aligned, making that standardization across the state that this is the standard, this is what we want from our company officers, and the company officers, the most influential position. So why should we pour so much into it? You get to be an officer, and a lot of people say, what next? But we need to pour into leadership development.
What all's entailed? What does an individual experience when they come to that program?
So at first, they're all thrown together. So that's one of the great things is you show up there not knowing anybody, go through the process. But one of our famous sayings is trust the process, because there's a lot of stuff all happening at once. It's not till the end where it comes together and they understand, they get it. But they're going to mix together. They PT every morning. So physical fitness, one of the basic building blocks that everything should be built on. So we focus on those building blocks, that solid foundation. So they PT every morning, and the first 2 or 3 days, it's pretty strenuous, but then we teach them how to build your own program, something they can take back to their department. So then within their squads, they're making their own PT plan. So then they're briefing it, they're executing it, they're stretching, they're doing everything they should, and that carries that on throughout the program, throughout when they get back to their department. So hopefully pushing the importance of PT. Then shower, and the first full day is classroom. So we do a Leadership 101 class.
Okay.
Just the once again basic building blocks of leadership. Just how to be a good leader, looking out after your people, and the core fundamentals of be no do. We have a command class, so it's not blue card, but how to do a first your initial size up.
Right.
The good windshield report, what's a good standardization for when you get on scene, because right now it varies throughout the state, and I give a lot of credit to blue card,
Sure.
Chief Rusini, but he pulled everybody together within the United States. There's a lot of different ways to do command.
We were having that conversation last night, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it pulled everybody together. Everybody is doing a lot of different things. Some people would walk around the yard and you're missing important radio traffic. So why it's important to, once again, standardize. We do everything. I don't want to give too much away, but there's conflict resolution. We have an attorney who comes in who looks over your reports, because report writing is a huge thing, and that's not something we prepare leaders for a lot of the time. Everything for the importance of cancer, peer support.
Yep. Now I kind of know the answer to this, but I'm prompting you here. Where is this done? How often is this done?
Yeah,
How long is this thing? Just tell me a little bit more about that.
So we do it twice a year.
Yep.
We can't get Chief done to do it more than twice a year.
He's lazy. He'll get over it. You know, keep going. Actually, he's a great guy. So right.
But we do it twice a year. The process is a full week. Within that 1 week, it's 96 hours total. So it's not just a light week. It's a heavy week. It's as I said, the process is open right now. So it's from June 1st through June 30th. It's the application process. So get that ball rolling. Turn it in if you need help filling out registrations, and reach out to the alumni. They'll be more than happy to help.
Where's it held?
It's held at State Fire. So that's a perfect facility to use.
Right.
We stay in the firehouse. You have the all the grounds that they have. So everything from their training tower to their burn buildings to their VES building. We have different days where different things. So we have engine work, we have truck work.
Okay. Now here's the big kicker. So that really sounds good, but usually when things sound real good, I can't afford it. So what's the cost? Put him on the spot.
Yeah, put me on the spot.
Okay, well, I'll bail you out a little bit with that one. It ain't much.
It ain't
because
much,
it's part of what the association gives back as far as training and education fees, and it's part of what you do as part of the section, which we'll talk about in a few minutes and everything too. So it's pretty minimal.
They're getting a deal. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't get training like that anywhere else.
Yeah.
Most training, if you chase around the country, 2 days is about $350.
Well, and see, the part of this is that you need to impress, and you are a significant component to it, but you got a lot of instructors, and don't name names because we'll inevitably leave somebody out, but you got a big group of people helping.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
It truly takes a village. There's a lot of hands in it. There's a lot of agencies that help out. You know, we couldn't do it with the heavy hitters. We couldn't do it without the Firefighter Association. We couldn't do it without State Fire.
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
all these people that come together to make it happen,
Absolutely.
and the collaboration is outstanding.
Yep.
Well, and I can feel when we talk about it that you're uncomfortable because you know how many people, but we put you up here, you got to talk about it, and we give you a lot of credit, right? But it is a bunch of people that put this on, and without probably 10 critical people, it doesn't fly, right? So it like you said, it takes a village, man.
I'm just a small piece in that pie, but it's cool to see everybody come together, work together, what we accomplish as a state.
What's cool about those 10 individuals, though, is where did those 10 individuals come from? Some of those people were in this program and are paying it forward.
Absolutely.
We push bringing back alumni to be instructors because it's pouring back into the program.
Absolutely.
And as you guys mentioned earlier, who's going to carry the torch? So when the process, what's going to keep it alive? So the alumni. The alumni, as long as they go through the program, they graduate, have that buy-in, they're the ones who know how important it is, how you got to keep that standard of what it's like and what it's going to be like. So
you're talking about the graduates of the program and the alumni of the program. When those individuals get through, I've seen this, so I'm prompting you again.
All right.
That last day, what's the emotion of that crowd?
So we were talking about that last night. Nobody wants to go home. I mean, it's a week where you're physically and mentally exhausted. We put them through the ringer. Most people would want to be ready to go home, but they don't want to go home. They've formed endless relationships statewide where it's.
I've seen the faces because you've allowed me to come and participate, and I'll tell you, Will Vinay, I wish I had that as a department. I could go there and just kind of scoop all those folks up and just bring them back home. Man, the crowd that you would have, the fired up, knowledgeable, motivated people that come out of that thing. So it is impressive.
So, there's a lot of questions about it because I guess the title is vague. Fire Officer Academy, just by the title, you're not going to know what that means. And you get a lot of questions of, okay, what exactly is it? And if I had to explain it to somebody, for somebody out there watching it that's curious about wanting to be part of it, it's an attempt to fill a lot of holes that traditional education is not providing. And we recognized this years ago, and it's kind of, why this exists. But, you mentioned command.
Right.
There's really not a class that's going to handle command as it looks from the front windshield. If you start getting into command, it's going to get a lot larger. You're going to be an I-300, I-400. You're going to be taking blue card. You're going to be doing those things, or you can ring functions of command by Brunacini, But this is filling a lot of gaps in a lot of areas. And like you said, because a lot of it is important to not know what you're getting into because of how the structure of the class goes. But when you come out of there, you're armed to deal with different situations that aren't talked about in other classes.
We spend a lot of time checking boxes on JPRs.
Right.
And I don't see this as that thing. I see that as these intangibles that through experience we know on day in and day out basis he's going to experience. So how do we give somebody a heads up that this is coming? How do we give somebody an opportunity to stretch that muscle? Not that tactical preparedness isn't key, but this is just something a little different for me when I say
the one of the best ways to describe it is I heard somebody here. It's something different to everybody.
Oh, okay.
So it's a
cool.
personal journey.
Yeah. Okay. That's
so with that personal journey, what do you want to get out of it? Because everybody has things they want to get out of it.
Right.
Everybody has a piece they love. You know, everybody's different, right? Every leader is different. So everybody wants more of something, and that's what we tell them is trust the process, right? So somebody might want more engine work, somebody might want more truck work, somebody might want more VES, but it's creating those small fires where they can now be passionate about that, bring that back and be like, you know what, I want to do more truck stuff. So they can reach out and take more truck schools, they can reach out and do more engine schools, they can reach out and do more command classes. But also exposing your weaknesses is one of the great things I've heard.
Being vulnerable and having a group of like-minded individuals around you to carry you through that is real life again.
Absolutely,
Well, and we talked all week about getting out of your comfort zone.
Yep.
When you show up for this class, there's going to be day after day after day you're going to be out of your comfort zone. You don't have a choice. And, you know, I think it might have been Mike or Paul one talked about when outside of your comfort zone, guys hiding back. And I think it was Mike. Ain't no hiding there. No, you're going to be exposed in a good way.
Yes.
And by the time you leave there,
A supportive way.
you're going to be you're going to be confident in the skill now. So yeah, you may get there, and you may struggle with truck work, and maybe at your department you don't do a ton of truck work. By the time you leave there, you're going to be confident in it.
Absolutely.
So hold your book up for the folks at home. All right. So here's the thing. You probably couldn't read it, but it still says Staff Sergeant Tardo on it. Nobody told him that he left the military. He doesn't know.
Right.
And I'm not going to tell him.
Right.
Because these are my favorite guys. You know, down in Buford, we hire a lot of former Marines.
Right.
We may have one or two Army guys, but not many. But here's the thing. You built this program and worked on this program preparing these folks for battle because that's what you're used to. Every time you trained in the Army, you're preparing for battle. And now, when I say battle, I'm not saying every fire. This battle may be conflict resolution.
Right.
This battle may be report writing.
Right.
But if you take this program, he's preparing you for battle. These instructors are preparing you for battle. Now, how prepared do you want to be for these battles? So that's what I like about the program. Favorite guy that ever worked for me was, he's Chief Beckmeyer now over in Hardyville, but he first in Fallujah, and that's his mentality. And I think that's why we hit it also because you remind me of him, and that was his mindset. You know, we're not training just to train. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not training just to train. You're training for battle.
And we talk about little things like being combat ready, have your gear on the truck ready to go. And everybody pushes, being complacent. But then how many times do you go around here radio battery chirp? That's complacency.
Okay.
That radio battery didn't just sneak up and die.
Right.
They didn't check in the morning. So little things like that is, the hot word. So, hey, don't be complacent. Complacency kills. You do it every day.
Right.
Did you check your radio battery?
Absolutely.
Did you check your flashlight battery?
Right.
Did you turn on your SCBA? Did you put it on your face? Little things like that is what you have to do.
Right.
And you see it every single day.
It's great. Now, see, I hit pause on him a second and this is what happens, right? You get somebody that's passionate and fired up like that, you can just see that elevated energy coming out of him, and that's what's happening in this program is that elevated energy. So that's why we're here, and that's why it's cool.
Yeah, nobody that enters that program, and y'all come in on Sunday.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Nobody enters that program the same person.
Yeah.
That leaves.
Yep.
And there's not
because they absorb that elevated energy.
Well, it's
level,
everybody.
right?
Just so many like-minded people together, feeding off each other, building each other up, and that's what it is, pushing each other to be better.
And I would say even you as an instructor that spends, I think you probably spend the most, and I know you got some other instructors that put a ton in during the week, but I would say you're different at the end of the week.
I learn as much as they learn from me. So it's not just Thomas Tardo up there talking. It's mixing all the instructors together. It's not me every single day. It's bringing other instructors, but we all learn from each other. It's not just us on a platform. We're always in gear with them. We're always training with them. We're always doing it with them. So that's the point. And when you get back to your department, leading by example. If you do an evolution, get in gear. Do it with the people.
There's 25 people in each class, isn't it? 25?
There is, yeah.
And you do it twice a year. Now, I would challenge you, and we were joking about Rick earlier, but I think that probably the exclusivity of it too is raising the bar a little bit, because you got to be on your A game to get into things.
It is very competitive, and we're going to quality over quantity.
Yep.
So it is.
Because there's
hard to get
pre-course
in.
requirements
Absolutely.
to do this. I mean, y'all
There's
got
a lot of coursework preloaded.
Absolutely, yes.
There's requirements before you get in. You have to do your paperwork right. One of the jokes I was talking about earlier is somebody said, "Man, you don't get your paperwork done, they throw it out." Good. That's the way it should be.
Right.
Can't follow directions? Next.
Good for you.
There's too many people that want to be in it
Right.
to pull around simple things.
And that is a great point, because I thought about it when you were talking about people that are signing up now. It's open enrollment right now. Folks that are just doing it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
They're not reaching out to their mentors to overlook their paperwork and just turning it in. There's a good chance.
But that's the mentorship program,
there's
right?
a good chance that gets tossed to the side. So you make sure that is squared away. From the first moment that you're trying to get in this program, you need to be elite.
Right.
Now, you don't have to have elite skills, but everything you do needs to be working towards elite. They'll give you some elite skills when you get in there.
But part of the elite is that want to, right?
Absolutely.
Right, absolutely.
Is, that's something you can't give a fireman. That's something you can't teach a firefighter.
Yep.
But that want to get better, that want to learn, and that want to be vulnerable.
Yep.
But once again, why you're there, and that's the biggest thing. Is I ask them day one, why are you here? And not just your textbook answer, but why? What do you want to get out of it? And then we ask them at the end of the course. Is that still matching
Right.
up? Do you still feel that was the why?
And how does that kind of come out for you? I mean, what do you observe when you see that?
So a lot of them too, explained. They said it exposed a lot of weaknesses. I didn't think I was need to be better at that skill.
Right.
Like I always ask him my favorite one. I like throwing aluminum. So I'm like, are you good at ladders? They're like, yeah. We'll see.
Good. Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
And then they're like, I was not as good as I thought I was.
So that's one of the things that come up when we arrive there is and it's amazing to me that I would say probably good 75% why it changes.
Yes, because that's one of the things that we're knocking on Rick, right? He asks that every
Why?
time. That's right.
Yeah.
The why.
And it's for them. That's the short answer.
Yeah.
And that's how everybody feels at the end of the week is, why are you a leader? Why are you in a position of leadership? And it should be for them. For our community, for our other firefighters, that person to the left and right of you. Why are you there? And it ain't for me. It ain't an individual sport. It ain't
That's right.
Nobody can say, hey, I got here on my own.
Right.
I can just the list of mentors and people who poured into me
Right.
is what drives me, and just that's throughout my career.
Hopefully we're getting you fired up about being part of this or whatnot. This brainchild and has kind of come along with the officer section that we talked about a little bit earlier as well too. And so tell me a little bit about the officer section itself and kind of where the foundations of this academy, this program, where it came from.
So the officer section's huge. I mean, if you're not part of it, be in it, be involved. See how you can be a part of it, what you can do for it. But if you're an officer in South Carolina, then get involved as
Officer. It didn't say
right.
any rank or any.
Right.
It didn't give a job description or anything. It's just if you're in that leadership role.
If you're in that leadership role, be a part of it. See what you can give back. See what you can take out of it. We were talking about it earlier this week. But there's so much that comes out of it, and that's where this program came out of it. Just talking during a meeting and saying, hey, we should do a academy where it's an officer academy. It's like, and it grew.
I had the luxury of sitting in there as Will did in your meeting this week, and so a lot of topics that you were talking about were stuff that an officer should be bringing back, having, or at least being knowledgeable about. So covering some good stuff.
And it's really just think about the network, right?
Right.
If every training officer was involved, that's at least one person from your agency who's involved in the program, who can take information back to their department, who can share information.
Right.
So that's why we need involvement. There's too many departments across South Carolina who just need to be more involved.
Islands or ice.
Right.
Isolated.
We need to build bridges.
Yes, sir.
There's no reason, I say this about academy classes, there's no reason why a class should cancel because there wasn't enough students, there wasn't enough instructors. That means we're not talking. That means we're not reaching out to our county, to our agencies, and saying, hey, we're hosting this class. So there's some classes not on the portal, but that's
Great way to do it.
we're not reaching out like we should.
Well, and being a member of the officer section is one of the easiest things we can do. I mean, it's simple. You just sign up. Rick gets it on his computer. He verifies that you're an officer. You're in. Now you get all the information that's provided.
Access to Blackboard, access
yeah,
to
so you
videos.
so you get all this, and then you're eligible for the different programs. Then you're tuned into the Jive and different things that we provide. So it is super, super simple.
and incredibly valuable. I think that when we first talked about this, we were trying to think of components of membership that were underserved or that needed development. And the conversation was we spend a lot of energy and time on doing recruiting and doing basic recruitment training. We talk a lot about senior leadership and chief officer things, but there was this huge gap in the middle that for the fire service, specifically, I'll talk about this state, although I think it's in general, there is this middle component of the fire service that's in limbo, that there's not good things, there's not good preparatory things, and with the turnover rate that we've got in the fire service now, with the fact that people are moving in and out and moving all over, we've got to better prepare you for the skill set you need to be able to manage, handle, lead, motivate, train, keep on going with just about every descriptive that you can.
Absolutely.
Amen. Okay, there's my sermon. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, that's hitting the nail on the head.
Well, but that section is an attempt to try to fill that gap to be able to get those individuals like you. You're a great example, who are just fired up, motivated. How do we spread that message everywhere? How do we get more and more people involved, motivated, active, just like you did a while ago? Because, man, your blood pressure went up and you were on fire, and I was like, I want this tiger in front of me, you know? And how do we get that everywhere? So this is an attempt to network and be able to share some of that stuff.
And so what's the next step?
So after Officer Academy?
Yeah.
So that was the topic this week we talked about, right? How to keep these people involved, because, hey, they get fired up. A week of just coming together, a week of being around like-minded people, a week of winning, and they go back to your agency and how to keep that fire alive. Because, hey, you can't make change overnight. You're not going to come and just start throwing all these ideas out and changing your organization, but water boils from the bottom. So realize that it takes a while for change to happen, but it starts within you. So that's what we tell them. Start within your four walls. Be the best engine company. Be the best truck company. Because guess what? I'm on the best company there is.
All right.
But then we're in the best house. We're on the best shift. We have the best department. And that's how it grows.
Right.
And that's what we want to grow. And then guess what? South Carolina is the best fire service around.
There you go.
And that's why we see other states coming here. We saw Georgia come up and look at the program, then take it back to Georgia. We have states up north that want to look into it. But South Carolina is leading between State Fire and the Firefighter Association, Chief Association, how they're collaborating together, we can accomplish anything.
We'll switch gears. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
I want to talk about you. What motivates you?
Hey,
what gets you up every morning and gets you doing this passionately about this?
I mean, it's cheesy, but for them, right? So I say for them.
That's not cheesy. That's honest.
I mean, it is honest because I feel like people rely on me. Where it matters how you walk in the door, right? You can't walk in the door because everybody watches how their officer walks in the door, right? So how you walk in the door sets the tone for the rest of the day. So are you walking in that door ready to work? Are you walking? You preach it all day. Hey, I need you guys to be in the right state of mind, right attitude, right place, right time, right uniform. But are you doing it? Are you living that standard? So, my team drives me, because on days that I don't feel like it, that's where discipline comes in. That's where I need to be on it for them, and that's what carries me through our community. Right? They don't care if I'm having a bad day. They don't care if I'm tired. They care that when they call 911, just like my family at home, that they get provided the best service. And that's what we all took a vow. We all said we're going to do it. So live it. It's that easy.
Good for you. A great answer. Now, one of the questions we get asked a lot in these programs, and so I'm going to throw it back at you, and it's okay, is about change. I struggle, and we hear this all the time, I struggle with making change in my department, my shift, my company, my crew, whatever the case may be. How do you get change going? How do you make this fire that now I've got a reality back home? And you've heard those questions and answers a good bit, so when I lay it on the crowd, what you think the answer to that question is, how do I manage and fire somebody up about change back home?
By living it.
Okay.
So by being the standard. We said be, no, do, right? So the be the standard, be the difference.
Okay.
You have to live that role. You have to go ahead and you do it through all the little things you do. You've heard if you can't do the little things right, can't do the big things right.
Right.
But if you go in and consistently do the right thing, then somebody else is going to join in. And we said about your four walls, because hey, nobody wants to be the weak link in the chain. So if you truly live that and your team lives that and you guys push each other, then everybody's going to rise up together. And
he's got good answers. He's got good answers. There's a reason he's sitting up here. He's got good answers.
That's right. And the thing is, when you live it, you can't fake it.
Right.
Right. So you got guys.
You'll be exposed if you do.
Yeah, they try and fake it, hoping somebody will notice. So how long can they hold it up? So it's not just given this look, just given this facade. Like you said, you got to live it.
And you got to be humble. You're going to fail.
Oh.
I mean, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail often. But
if you're doing it
especially
right,
if
you are.
Right. Especially if your team knows, hey, we're going to do everything together. I want them. If I don't mask up fast enough, I want them to be like, dang.
Yep. Right, what's wrong with you today?
You got me. But I want them to excel. I want them.
It's an accountability, a mutual
Accountability goes both ways.
Absolutely.
And we lose that in the fire service.
Yep, right.
We forget that in the fire service.
Yep. That I'm above it just because I got some kind of more little things here or more little things here. I'm above it, and that's garbage. That's not true.
And that's why my company sayings are only as good as your last objective. Because it doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter all the fancy awards you have. What you do now matters, and how you apply it, and what you do tomorrow. And that's all that matters. They don't care. They don't care what fires you've been on. They don't care what you've done. How are you affecting the citizens in your team today?
I think what we better do for him is give him a heads up that he better start preparing, because I think we're hearing a future keynote in place.
Yeah.
So now you just got to turn this into a 20 or 30 minute.
I try to keep my head down most.
Well, that's cool, but you're a good target, so you better just go on and get ready. You can keep your head down all you want, but you need to go on and start thinking about that, because that's the next step. Focus and funnel that passion and put that into a cohesive message, and you probably can sell it. So don't charge me too bad. Remember me when you get there.
Now, I'll be fair. Joe's only got a job for like one more day.
I'm out tonight. man. So
Making promises.
Need a driver? I mean.
Now, parting shots for what they need to do, because we want to talk Fire Officer Academy, and we could probably do this for another hour with you, just talking fire service and passion and doing it the right way and doing the right things and being the right person. But if they want to be part of something great, they need to register. And they have to be okay with not being selected.
Yeah.
Figure out why you didn't and get better on your next time, because it's competitive to be in there. You're talking 25 people, and how many company officers do we have that want to be in this?
Right, a lot.
I mean, so you got to think that your percentage of chance of getting in is pretty low. You got to be pretty squared away. So take it for what it is.
And get a mentor. That goes back to everything we talk about. But don't just fill out the paperwork on your phone, sit down in front of a computer, reach out to somebody who's graduated the course or the program, and figure out, hey, what do I need to do? Will you look this over? Don't just send it, but put some time into it, put some thought into it.
Now, and I'll also say this. It's highly competitive. A bunch of people putting in. There's 25 spots. Don't accept failure early. Yeah, don't just look at it and say,
one and done.
I don't know. Not even that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put in because so many people are.
Don't get to that point.
So if they've already conceded to the fact.
Yep.
I say prepare yourself, put in a great program, and see what happens.
I know somebody put in for the third time, and hey, it's awesome to see that. It's awesome to see that, hey, I keep putting in, but they keep putting in because they want to be a part of it. They want to go through the program.
Good.
So.
And when it's right, it'll be there.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
That's right. Good for you.
Well, thank you for being on. Always a pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Great deal, man.
Thank you.
You're a great guy. Thank you for all you're doing for us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your passion.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for pouring into me.
You got it.